So I tried the P320 again. How's it going, YouTube? Navy Sooner here. Today, yes, I'm going over the P320 again. I decided to give it a second chance, and I'm kind of glad that I did. A couple years ago, I did a review on the SIG P320. It was kind of like the base model of the P320, and I freaking hated it. I hated the grip. It was too fat. I hated the fact that you had to go buy another grip if you really wanted to make sure that it felt good or whatever. I hated the way that it flipped in my hand because of the high bore axis. And then I hated the trigger. But once I got my hands on this one, this is the P320 RXP X series model, and I've kind of changed my mind on the P320. I kind of like them now, and I know that there's some people out there that are hating on the 320s right now because police officers are working on them incorrectly, and there's also putting them in incorrect holsters, and there's stuff that's in the trigger guard. So I mean, it's not all really on the P320 anymore. I mean, it could be, and I could be completely wrong, but I'm not like super 320 biased. I like CZs and I like PDPs, but I really like this version of the P320 as of right now. Came with the X series grip. It was too slick, so I decided to stipple it, and it was still too slick. I don't know why it didn't get stippled on this side. Probably because it would have taken away where it was made. I don't know, but yeah. And even though it's there, I'm left-handed, so there's no really a good shelf on this one for my thumb to get on. However, later on we'll find out that even though this one has a shelf, I kind of like getting down here on my lights. So it's really, I just kind of like this grip better. I did change it out to this one. This is Polymer 80 grip, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. It also comes with the SIG Romeo 1 Pro with the metal shroud on it, and then some X-Ray 3 suppressor height sights, so you can co-witness with the red dot. So the trigger is obviously the straight trigger version of the SIG. That's what comes with the X series, and basically anything that's SIG that's not the base model version. You can get the RXP with the curved trigger, but I mean, no, this one's better. The X series triggers are much better. The straight pull, in my opinion, makes that trigger better. However, there is some creep in it and mushiness in it, and the mushiness is here. Nothing in there. Nothing in there. The mushiness, I mean, it still feels like the trigger's dead when you pull it, when there's no rounds in it. Like I said in the first video, it just kind of feels like it dies whenever you pull the trigger. It just, ugh. And that's just, I don't know how it feels. It's a lot more crisp, I think, maybe than the curved trigger, but I got rid of that SIG in a long time ago. And I mean, there is some crispness to it, but it's not like the most crisp, but it's also like not the most mushy. So it's kind of middle of the road for me for the triggers of the P320s, especially this one. The curved ones are much more garbage in my opinion. Now I'm also going to be comparing the 320 to some of my other firearms. This is the PDP-F 3.5 model. Some people will be like, oh, well, that's a compact version. I don't care. It's pretty dang smooth. It's a really nice gun. This is what I carry on a daily basis for concealed carry. And I mean, it feels just, when you shoot it, it feels like you're still shooting a large full-size gun. So we're going to talk about that trigger, and then the trigger on the CZ P10F, which is kind of my go-to full-size duty style handgun. The trigger on this one is very crisp. It breaks at about 4 pounds. About 4 pounds. While the P320, it breaks anywhere between 4 to 4.5 pounds on my trigger scale. This one breaks very crisp, and it breaks right around 4 pounds every time. Hard to find a deviation in the weight of the pull. So the crispness of this, there's not as much mushiness. I don't like the dongles. I really like how that trigger is straight and you don't have to worry about a dongle. But this trigger is really, really crisp. I mean, it rivals Walther triggers. Speaking of Walther triggers, the trigger on my PDP-F is pretty dang crisp. Now, it says that the pull weight's about 5.25 pound pull, but I mean, it doesn't really feel that way. I mean, granted, I mean, pull weight tells you everything, I guess. But I mean, the trigger is very crisp, and PDP triggers, I mean, not PDP, but Walther triggers are some of the best triggers out there that come stock. But my CZ still rivals it. All in all, though, going back to the P320 trigger, it is much better than the curve trigger, the base model trigger. And yeah, that kind of has changed my mind a little bit about the P320. The thing that I don't like about the base model grips and the M17 and M18, the M series grips, is they're too fat. I have small dick beaters because I have small... Anyways, I have small dick beaters and I just can't get a good grasp on it. The X series grip feels like in my hand I can get a good grip on it, but it was too slick on me like when I first got it, and the stippling is still pretty slick, and I just have a hard time with my thumb on this side, and I just felt like I needed to change something. Some people say go to the Wilson Combat grip module, but the P80 grip module on this is pretty dang nice. Still feels a little big in my hand, like it doesn't fit like a glove like that one, but it also, I feel like there's more grip on it. It comes with like kind of a thumb shelf up here, which, I mean, I can shoot it like that, and I have shot it like that with that, but I kind of feel like coming down on the light when I'm doing that for any type of putting my thumb, like having my thumb shelf or whatever. So I like coming down on that light, and this just feels very well. There's a good cutout right here for my finger. I mean, there's a good cutout here too, but the cutout on this one, it feels much better. The beaver tail on this one is, I mean, it's about the same, but on the back side of it here, it's much fatter, and it kind of fits my hand back there a little bit better with this. It kind of feels like it's like a 1911's grip angle, and that's what I really hate about, like, say, Glocks, the grip angle. Fucking hate it. Glock grip angles are garbage, and all the Glock fanboys out there, sorry, grip angles are just shit. Suck it. I mean, yeah, granted, you can train around it, but why do I need to train around it if I don't need to, right? So going to the CZ really fits my hand very well. Much better than the X series grip module that I have. The only problem is it's very slick right here. Now I can stipple it, and it's very slick on the back right here. I mean, it's slick here too on the P320, but I mean, I can stipple it, or I can put some grip tape on it. But I mean, this just, compared to the P320, it sticks in my hand better, even though the grip on the CZ feels better. But I mean, it's just a little bit thicker, and it fits my hand very well, and I can control it just fine with this grip. I mean, I like the CZ grip, but it's just a little too smooth on me. Now, the grip that really fucking fits my hand is the PDP-F grip. Like I said, I have small dick beaters, so small girl handgun, I guess you could say. I don't think I don't think Walther should have just kind of marketed this towards females. I think they should have marketed it towards smaller handed people or whatever. But I mean, PDP-F feels much better than this. It feels much better than the CZ. I'm really thinking about getting the 4-inch model. I have the 3.5-inch model for concealed carry though. Now for the red dot on it, I really like that it came with the shroud. The Romeo 1 Pro, it's very robust and works great for me. I really like the X-Ray 3 sights that came with it. It's got tritium in the front and the rear, and I mean, it co-witnesses great, so that's all good. And I really do like the middle shroud on this. Now I know that you can get middle shrouds for other red dots, but I mean, the gun came with it. I didn't have to go out and buy the red dot. I didn't have to go out and buy the shroud. I didn't have to go out and buy new sights. It all came like that. So the RXP X series comes with all that, and I really like that. Now I've put 500 rounds through this gun, and despite me not like loving the trigger, I still really like this gun. In fact, I'm thinking about switching to this as my primary, like, go-to full-size handgun when I do training or whatnot, or just having it around on my property if I'm wearing it or not, whatnot, or for SHTF situations as a full-size handgun. It works great. Some people want to complain about on the Polymer 80s that the magazine release is plastic. You can remove it via the same way that you remove a magazine release on, say, a Glock. It's got the same way. It's different than the actual P320, and you can change it out, or I mean, hell, for the price of one of these grip modules, just fucking buy a new one when it goes out. Not that big a deal. Now, granted, like SHTF situation, you don't have that, but I plan on having a couple more of these grip modules just because you can get black, you can get green. They're cheap. They're a lot cheaper than the Wilson Combat one. Granted, you can get metal mag releases for those, but the only complaint that a lot of people that I can see with this grip module, a lot of people have, is that some guy said that this was more blocky than a Glock. I mean, it's about as blocky, but it's not more blocky, and just the grip angle. That guy, I think, was pretty much a Glock fanboy that I watched the video on that was talking about these Polymer 80 grips, and I think these Polymer 80 grips are a great option to go to, even if you have the crappy ass curved trigger version of the P320. This gun shoots just as smooth as my CZ and my PDP, although my PDP, even though it's a 3.5 inch, that thing is so great, but this thing shoots just as smooth as my CZ. I don't have the muzzle flip as much. I mean, it's still a little there, like as much as any other 9mm, but I don't have it as much as the original P320 because I can really get a good purchase here on the gun with it in my hand and then my thumb, and it shoots very well for me. And I mean, like I've said earlier in the video, I'm really thinking about going to this gun as my primary full-size handgun. Now, there were a couple of problems that I had with this handgun, and it consisted of two things. That one was, I have this Legion magazine, and I'm going to put some video in right now. It caught up a couple of times when I was shooting it. I thought, hey, the magazine was empty, and it wasn't, and it caught up on some rounds, and this is the only magazine that I had issues with. I didn't have any issues with the two magazines that came with it, and I didn't have any issue with this 21 round magazine either. But it was just the issue that I had for magazines was with this Legion magazine. So, and it was only a couple of times. Didn't happen much. It happened once early in my 500 rounds, and then it happened once again while I was filming me shooting this firearm, and so I was able to catch it on camera. Now, the other issue that I had is strictly for the grip module. I had a problem where the slide release wouldn't release. Okay, yeah, I get it. Slide stop, slide release, whatever. The slide release, I call it slide release. It doesn't really fucking matter. Y'all get butthurt about it. The slide release would catch up whenever I would try and close the slide. Now, that only happened when I had rounds in the magazine, and it only happened on this side of the firearm. This side was fine. You could still close it by going forward. You can still close it going back here. Be fine once you put your magazine in, but magazine with rounds in it, or while the gun didn't have a magazine in it, it wouldn't go. But it's kind of worked itself out, so I'm not really having that issue right now. It could come back, but I did have that issue when I first put it into this grip module. My final thoughts. I have been using this gun with my Blackhawk Omnivore holster just to get my review, get my thoughts, if I liked it or not, and I do like it. So much so, said it earlier in the video, that I'm really thinking about going away from the CZ. I'm going to shoot it some more, see if that's really what I want to do, and then I need to find proper, remember the word proper. I need to find proper holsters for the P320, ones that are built for the P320, ones that haven't been modified, ones that haven't been fucked with, and that way I don't have to worry about my gun going off because it's in the wrong fucking holster, or there's something that had gotten into the holster. And that's I'm not really rolling around on the ground with the Omnivore. The Omnivore, there could be really something that could get in there right now. The drop problem that they had with the P320s is gone, unless you find one that someone didn't send in to get fixed or whatever, but that's gone. And I mean, I just need to get a proper holster, more magazines, and then I'm probably going to this full-time as my full-size handgun. So, I mean, don't get me wrong, I like the CZ, but it's just, how can I say this? This one felt better. And then there's another reason that I'm going to this one over the CZ. The P320 obviously is the firearm that the military has gone to. I mean, the M17, the M18, and then there's a lot of police departments that are going to the P320. So in an SHTF situation, granted, I know that it's going to be hard to find shit during the SHTF and WROL and everything, but I think it'll be easier to find parts to be able to fix this rather than finding parts to fix this. This is a great gun. It fits in every single Glock 17 holster I've put it in, and that's a great thing. But I mean, one of the big reasons going to this is because it's being more widely adopted. So that being said, I gave it a second chance. Screw the base model, original models that feel like a fat cock in your hand, but I like these. I mean, these feel much better, and I really like this gun. So that's it. Now that you've gotten to the end of the video, do the whole thing: like, share, subscribe. If someone's thinking about P320, send this to them. If someone's thinking about another gun, send this video to them. There's a way to donate to the channel if you would like to down below. You don't have to, so all of you people that complain about people asking for donations, fuck off. Well, that being said, Navy Center out.